noise than that? I feel like I need a lot of energy from you guys. Can we do a little bit more? Thank you, Mike. Hi. Hi. This is Gray. Thank you guys for coming out. I'm so glad we have a little bit of cloud cover, and I'll try to be active. So let's do this. So it's so difficult to talk about lost voices now with everything that's going on today that Tracy and Abigail did a really awesome job. Can we give them another hand? Abigail, a team up here on the Capitol steps. It's just awesome, guys. All the people who have lost or have never been given their voices. Which lost voice do we pick? And if I speak only to my lost voices, or those of my family, as a white person in this country, aren't I missing the point completely? So I hope you'll stay with me as I kind of travel the world here a little bit. Let me start by saying my name again. Thank you, Onyx. My name is Reaca Pearl. I'm a non-binary, pansexual, demi-gray ace survivor of sexual trauma. And I am I'm most often perceived as female, especially when I've got the baby mother. So that's there. I am an activist therapist, a trauma therapist, of course, and a gender therapist, and the youth scene program director for the Trans Youth Education and Support Program. That's TYES, and TYES is the reason I'm here today, guys. We're a parent, caregiver, volunteer-run support program for families of transgender children in Colorado. We are the only program that does what we do to support parents with underage trans youth in learning to advocate for their children's fundamental human rights. Yes. A task that in 2016 seemed difficult but doable. And now, I'm going to be quite honest, guys, a task that some days seems insurmountable and sometimes hopeless, and I hope that's not the case. In service of our purpose here today, in amplifying lost voices, I offer just a personal snapshot of my history and the collective history, our queer collective history. When I was in high school in Greeley, Colorado, I sat closeted in a health class and listened to a peer gleefully offer the solution to the AIDS epidemic. Put all the gays on an island and burn it. The whole class laughed. This was 1994. When I came out as bisexual, the closest term that fit back then, I was called a switch hitter slut, laughed at as a dramatic attention seeker by my straight friends, and infantilized by my gay friends as not yet all the way there on my journey to pure gayness. I was told over and over again that I didn't exist. When I entered into a life partnership, I was told I had finally chosen a team. Has anybody heard that ever? No? So, yeah, okay. And for many of my friends, it was the wrong team. Because of the way my relationship looks, my identity for the past 16 years is consistently erased. I am told still that I don't exist. When I began to have children of my own, one of them's wandering around here with flyers somewhere, I promised myself, my partner, and the world that I would never erase my children. I would never force them into silence about their truth because they would have an easier life if they lied to everyone about who they were. So when my oldest child finally started to have words for who they were 4 years ago, I did what I wished my parents had done. I did what I wish all parents would do. I listened. You'll find that they're really hard to not listen to, too.
Anybody else need one of these? Anybody else need one?
And, guys, I let them lead. They're a born leader. You can honestly see that. When my child's school said, if you don't fit into the blue box, you must fit into the pink one, I pushed back. When they said, to use the girls' bathroom, you must sit down to pee, and to use the boys' bathroom, you must not wear a dress. And what is going on with your child anyway? I said, this is who my child is. Thank you. It is not their job to conform to our antiquated binary boxes. It is our job to listen to them when they tell us their truth. It is our job to make the world a better place for them, not to force them to fit into a backwards world. My father said, "I love your child, but just because they say they're a cabbage does not make them a cabbage. And I refuse to call them a cabbage." My father compared my child, his first grandchild, to an ape who had poor role models. My queerness was blamed for my child's queer gender identity. And my child was told they didn't exist. My brother said that's what you get when a strong feminist works and raises children. He loved us, but he couldn't allow his children to be taught that a person could choose their gender. Yet again, my child was told they didn't exist. Anybody relate to that? My talkative, scientific-minded, Minecraft-obsessed, map-reading, autistic, non-binary child is often misgendered. Yes. Even in the supportive community with which we've surrounded them with, and many of the worst offenders flippantly say that we must give them time, that it's hard to get used to these gender-neutral pronouns. This from people who've only ever known my child as who they are. Give them time, they say. They need time, they say. How much, guys, how much time are we expected to give people to validate our existence? Over and over again, from the casual talk within our own queer community of made-up genders or real trans people, to the outright hate from the White House. My child is told they don't exist. My child is 8 years old. They don't understand why other people don't just believe them when they tell them who they are. What do they know? My child says. They're not me, and if they loved me, they believe me when I tell them who I am. And they're right. What sense does it make to keep splitting straws on whose lifestyle is right? Nobody is asking you to be pansexual if you're not, right? Nobody is asking you to be non-binary if you're not. We are just asking to be allowed to exist with all the rights that our humanity should automatically give us. You see, I'm here to represent TYES, again, Trans Youth Education Support, and thank you, and talk about the lost voices of our transgender kids and families. But all of our lost voices are intertwined, just as all of our liberation is intertwined. There have been 12 reported murders of transgender women in the U.S. in 2018 so far. 10 of those women were trans women of color. You see, our queer fight did not end on June 26, 2015, when gay and lesbian couples got the legal right to marry, nor did it end when trans folks were allowed to serve openly in the military in June 2016. Our fight for racial justice didn't end on Juneteenth in 1865, nor did it end on January 20th, 2009, when Barack Obama took the presidential oath. I'm just going to pause. Our queer fight doesn't end when white binary trans kids get to change their gender markers from M to F or from F to M on their birth certificates in Colorado. But still do vote in the midterms, because we need that one vote to get that birth certificate modernization law. We want it anyway. Our fight for women's equality didn't end when straight, cis, white women got the right to vote, nor did it end when reproductive rights were won in 1973. You see, our liberation, as everybody has been saying here today, thank Goddess, is intertwined. And if we, as a queer community, would have focused on the liberation of Marsha P. Johnson, y'all know Marsha, give it up for Marsha, and Sylvia Rivera, who, after they bravely stood their ground during the Stonewall riots on June 28th, 1969, instead of white cis-washing the queer fight for liberation so that white cultural norms would understand, and silencing all these lost voices because they were uncomfortable for those white cultural norms to talk about, not only would we still have gay and lesbian rights to marry, But maybe, just maybe, there wouldn't still be an epidemic of hate crimes against trans women of color. And I wouldn't have to tell my child that being trans is dangerous in many parts of their country. And sometimes they might need to swallow their voice in order to survive the day. But that it is even more dangerous for their biracial trans girlfriend. And they'd better not leave her behind as we left Marsha and Sylvia behind. Thank you.